8:06. Let's do Ask the Mayor. We do it once a month. Mayor Smiley comes in, takes your calls, compliments, questions, complaints. We could have one of those today, Tom. You never know. 438-9776. But you ready for it, Mayor?
I'm ready.
Listen, you prevailed against the rent control measure. You got your way by one vote.
Yeah, by the way, not only did I prevail, I think it's a good day for the city and a good day for renters. I honestly believe that this is the only thing that proposal was going to do was guarantee rent increases every year. And so it was a good day for the city because the right policy prevailed, and it will actually help renters in the long term.
Well, you know, Rachel Miller, the council president, she's against you on this, and she's maneuvering, and she's an operator. She's going to come back some way or another. What do you expect her to do? Or these proponents of this?
Yeah,
they're not happy.
My expectation is that the policy proposal, the ordinance, is done for the year, and people are going to focus on September and November and for elections, and
Right.
they're going to this is going to be a big part of the campaign, I'm sure, for the mayor's race, but also for council races.
Your opponent, Dave Morales, he's going to bang the drum on this, and he thinks he's got you in certain quarters on this. Do you have any numbers, by the way? You want to share some numbers with me? How are you doing against him?
I never share polling data. We use that for strategic guidance on the campaign, and so those numbers are private. I've run twice now, and I've never once shared a poll, and I'm not about to start now.
Well, what could you do, like any imagery? Let's say we had like balancing scales, and you had 2 sacks of grain on that, and he would have 1 sack of grain. Well, what do you think you got him by?
And how many kernels of rice?
Yeah, what do you think you got him by?
Listen, we, like I said, I never share that, but I'm expecting a competitive election. But I'm optimistic that I'll have a chance to continue to serve. But I have to go out and earn it. I'm not entitled to this job. I've got to go earn this job, and so I'm excited to be out in the neighborhoods more so than I've even been before. I'll get out of City Hall a little bit more and go make my case, and both report out on the progress we've made in the last 4 years and my plans for the next 4 years, and then it's up to the voters.
Yeah. So I guess you're kind of the firewall between rent control. As long as you're in, you're going to fight it. If you lose, rent control is coming.
I mean, there's a clear difference on this issue, to be sure. The council and I actually agree on plenty of things, and we do agree with the underlying issue, which is that it's gotten really expensive in Providence, particularly with housing affordability. Where we disagree is they thought this was a solution, and I feel strongly that this was actually going to make it worse. And so I think Friday night was a good day for renters in the city. Believe it or not, this policy was going to do more harm than good, and now we can move forward with the other things that we're doing, which will help.
They wanted to allow 4% increase annually, but there were exceptions. Owner operator, there was a lot of exceptions. It was going to be 4% across the board. You could jack the rent up every year, and they felt that was going to be at least a way to control some of the landlords who were going to whack them for more than that. And your opposition was, well, I've been saying this. If you think the guy's not coming to unclog your toilet now, wait till you stop him from making what he needs to make. Electricity rates have gone up 8% on average. It's a little tough to make to a landlord. In addition to, if you're asking people, you're begging them to come in and please develop. I want you to build more affordable housing. The guy's going to look at you like you got 2 heads. You want me to come in and spend millions, but you're going to tell me what I can make?
Yeah, we have a housing shortage. I mean, the underlying root cause of the affordability issue is we have a housing shortage, and you can't solve a housing shortage without building more housing. And so this was going to make it less likely that more housing would get built. And of course, Rhode Island, Providence would have been the only community with rent control. And so if you're thinking about building new housing, you're a small-scale developer that's building 3 families in the urban core, and Providence is the only city with rent control, you're going to go to Pawtucket or Central Falls or Woonsocket or West Warwick or Johnston or any other community other than Providence. It's just so clear to see that it would have been harmful for new construction, which would have ultimately meant it was harmful to renters. That's what it's about.
By the way, what's wrong with going to Johnson? You can afford it. Or what's wrong going to Pawtucket? I'd like to live on 550 Park Avenue. I don't think I could afford it. So if I move to New York, I have to move to Queens maybe. So what's wrong with that?
I love my neighboring communities. I want Providence to be the city that everyone wants to be in. Yeah. It's my job, and I feel strongly about it that Providence has got something special to offer with the arts and the culture and the nightlife and job opportunities and diversity and neighborhoods that are unique but special. So like I can sell Providence all day long, and so it's my job to make our city the most attractive destination. But these.
it's a fair question. You know, people come to Providence because they can't afford Boston, right?
Sure.
Yeah, and people live in Pawtucket because they can't afford Providence. So don't you go where you can afford?
To some extent, but if you look across the border, and I know there's actually some Connecticut listeners to our show here.
Oh, but you're in a station. We're on WXLM. Got a whole station there.
Exactly. So in Connecticut, there's not, in most of the Connecticut cities, there's not a strong middle class, and there has been a lot of flight to the suburbs. What I want for Providence is that it have mixed income neighborhoods, that we have middle class families, and every sort of income bracket or socioeconomic status can feel at home in Providence. That's good for the city. That's good for our community. It just makes it a happier, healthier place. And so I don't want Providence to be the place that only wealthy people can afford to be. That's not our aspirations for the city.
You know who else likes it? Because the landlords, all these people who own the triple deckers, that was wealth creation. Those triple deckers are worth $7 and change on the worst street in your city, right? You know that, right? Central Falls, same thing, 645, 780 for a triple decker with the vinyl siding on it, Mayor.
Right.
Isn't that another side of the story? Wealth creation.
Wealth creation for sure, and that's the landlords in Providence. It's not my job to defend landlords, but it's I think New York, certainly a place like D.C., you have these huge corporate landlords. That's not what most landlords in Providence are. It's mostly mom and pops that own one or two buildings, these small triple deckers. You may have seen there was an article in the paper last weekend or on Friday maybe about a Colombian immigrant who bought his first 3-family and worked really hard to save up and buy that one piece of property in the city. I've heard that story 100 times in Providence, and I think that so did some of the council people. They referenced it in their speeches and stuff. In our neighborhoods, we have families who've worked really hard to buy their first home and maybe buy one other property or two other properties. That's what a landlord looks like, and those folks are entitled to that, and they're also good landlords because they live here. They're neighbors. Okay. So anyway, this was a good outcome, and it was obviously a very emotional and intense debate, but I think it's a good outcome for renters and gives us the ability to work on all the other things that we're working on to make Providence housing more affordable.
Now, Megan called in, and she is going to say exactly the opposite of what you said, and she said you're not completely being honest with us. Megan, you're on the phone with the mayor. Go ahead.
Oh, Gene, thank you. Gene, I actually changed up my question a little bit. I actually wanted to talk about the rent relief fund. I hear you guys talking about landlords. Look, I have friends who are landlords. I actually have a great relationship with my landlord. I'm a renter myself. But I'm worried about my neighbors, especially those who grew up here. Isn't it like the American dream to be able to grow up in a beautiful city? Your mom lives 2 streets down. You can be with your family and friends. So this rental relief fund, look, pulled out my calculator app, Googled 1 million divided by 3,000. I got 333. So we're planning on helping 300 families.
Okay. The mayor says I've got a better plan. I have cash reserves. I'm willing to give certain families who qualify $3,000 in cash. She just did the math, and she says it's not enough. Go ahead.
Yeah. So to be clear, the rental relief fund is, I think, a vital tool in the toolbox. It's not the sum total of our housing strategy. We're doing a lot of different things, but one of the problems that's been identified many times is that for some families, they're working, they have steady income, but they're really sort of challenged to make ends meet, right on the edge every month. And so all it takes is one little thing. It takes a temporary job loss. If you can't go to work for a week, you don't get paid, your car breaks down, you got an unexpected repair expense, a medical bill that you didn't expect, and all it takes is that one little thing, and that's enough for you to not be able to pay your rent or your mortgage that month. And so what we wanted to do was solve that problem. It doesn't solve all the problems. It solves that problem for to help keep people housed when there is a temporary disruption to income, and so it's only targeted towards lower income residents. You have to be 80% AMI or lower. 60% will get a preference, and so it does solve that problem. We tried a version of this during the pandemic, and it helped. It worked. So this isn't a new idea. And then the funding from it was proposed to be proceeds from property sales. It doesn't mean that that's the only money we'll ever put into that fund. Yeah. That's just the initial fund. And so I understand Megan's point. It is, first of all, I don't know why we wouldn't want to help 300 families. It's fair enough. It may not be enough, but 300 families could be 600 people. Okay. And just because we can't help everyone doesn't mean that we shouldn't try to help as many people as we can. Okay. And it's an initial funding. We can always add more to the pot.
All right, Mayor. Megan, that's his answer. Go ahead.
Yeah, I just wonder if the mayor's a little out of touch with the everyday experience of people. I don't even think it takes one emergency. I think things are so expensive right now, groceries and gas. Yeah. I don't think it takes an emergency to push someone over the edge anymore.
Megan, let me ask you this. Now, I'm just going to speak for the other side. Why is it the mayor's responsibility? Why is it the mayor's responsibility? Why is it the city's responsibility? If you can't afford Providence, go live in Pawtucket.
I guess I'm a little confused.
I don't even know if you can afford Pawtucket. I mean, I understand. I'm just using that. Why is it the mayor's responsibility? And I'm going to listen. Go ahead.
Great. I guess I'm just a little confused because when you're the mayor, you have constituents and they currently live here. It's not people you're attracting from out of state. I guess I'm just confused why you wouldn't prioritize their lives.
Go ahead, Mayor.
Well, I'm not. Megan and I are at least in part on the same page on this because, as you know, Gene, I don't agree that we should just let people say, "Oh, just go move to Pawtucket." I want people to be able to stay in Providence, and again, the rent relief fund is not the solution to all problems. It is the solution to a problem. Yeah. And I'm glad we're doing it. And by the way, 14 out of 15 council people agree because they all co-sponsored it. And so we think it will help with one thing. Megan, perhaps, as I said at the outset, we know that a lot of people are struggling with the total cost of living on a lot of everything is more expensive. Utilities, insurance, gas, now everything. But for the problem of people who one small disruption can mean eviction, this is meant to help address that issue. It is not going to solve all problems, but it's still several hundred families that can stay housed that would maybe have been evicted otherwise. And so if we can help a couple hundred families, we should do that.
Megan, you're not going to vote for the mayor. I know that, right? You're going to vote for Morales.
Well, I guess Michael Ingos dropped out, so I guess I won't vote for him.
All right. Megan, thanks for calling in, and thanks for your point of view. That's Megan. Go to Marilyn. Against my best judgment, I'm going to go to Marilyn. She's got a complaint. Why not? Go ahead, Marilyn. You're on with the mayor.
What is that about your best judgment?
Well, because
I want to know what you have against me now. You loved me before. You had your picture taken with me after the Caprio's funeral.
You had your
picture. Nobody.
No. Well, I put you on. First of all, I put you on.
Okay. Oh, all right. Thank you so much, Gene. I'll have to bow down to you when I see you.
You don't have to bow down. Just a tip of the hat would be nice. Go ahead.
I have a special mug for you. I may get it to you someday. You'll love it. Hold on. Okay.
I'm being mugged. Hold on. Go ahead. You're on with the mayor.
No, a mug to drink your coffee.
Go ahead.
Not
I know. You're on with the mayor.
Yeah, you don't need that.
Go ahead.
Okay. So, all right, just to even thank the things that I do call in. I wanted to talk to you, actually. I went at the St. Patrick's and the other thing and that woman's thing at night, so moving. And I kept saying, I got to tell him I'm the lady that calls when the signs are down and things sticking out of the sidewalk. So I'm on my mobility scooter, and I find these things. I call it in. I let you know. I have to say that one that was right near 10 Westminster Street, we are losing our jewel at the end of the month. As you know, Stages of Freedom, it's like a museum in there. I don't know where they're going to go. I'm very good friends with them.
But Marilyn, I have to be somewhere at 6.
Anyway,
could you just go and tell the mayor what you want?
All right, I'm not going to get as much time as Megan. I understand I'm not as good as her.
I'm going to cut you off in 2 seconds. Would you just get to your question?
All right. Well, I just noticed that there's two things. The sign only had 2 screws in it. It was that big sign holding up all those directions, but you got it fixed. That's good. Okay. Now, the bus system that I have to be on my mobility scooter, and I need a curb on the bus stop because they put the ramp down and it's not so steep, all right? But last week, I tried to get on the bus in front of the Providence education there, and there was somebody broke down with a blinking light, you know? So I go up to the next stop, and it's the new one. It's one up by Citizens Bank. And people are parked there now because I think a new business opened, so people are parked in that. So I'm waving, and I'm up with a sprained ankle, trying to wave them to see me that I have to get on before the bus stop where there is just flew right by me, and I ended up on the ground on my bad hip.
All right, we don't want
A
that.
nice guy came and pulled in to go to the bank and picked me up and put me back on my scooter. And
All right,
I had to get the bus and go back downtown before I could go home.
Hold on. I speak Maryland here. You would like the curb cut there, or would you like a better at that particular spot,
No,
Maryland?
I want them to ticket people. The police department doesn't ticket people who are parked in the bus zone, and then when the bus comes by, there's 2 downtown.
Got it. I got it. Can you help her?
Yeah, this was Westminster Street, sort of over near the high schools, right?
Yes, she
Marilyn?
says that the people are blocking the buses. Mayor, we have to help everybody here.
Absolutely.
You know?
No, and it's you never want to hear about someone on a mobility device that got knocked over and needed assistance from. Thank goodness there was a helpful bystander. But
Right.
Yeah, got it.
All right, Marilyn, he's going to get right on that and report back next time. All right, Mayor, I want to talk to you about the mall. Because you were almost blaming me and the media for this perception that the mall might be unsafe. But then Joe Paolino said, no, safety's job one.
Yeah.
So we'll get into that and a few other things at 8:23, right back with the mayor. Ask the mayor. All right, we're back with the mayor at 8:28, just a couple of minutes. At 438-9776. You want to talk to the mayor, we're going to go another half hour. So you call in now. We'll line you up at 438-9776. Mayor Joe Paolino's going to buy the mall. He's got a partner, but he says he can turn it around, and he says safety is job one. Now, you bristled when I brought up the notion that people feel unsafe about the mall. Do you think you were being a little defensive? I understand you're the mayor. You don't like to hear that, but I don't apologize for that. It's in the news, Mayor. And right after that, you had 2 incidents in one day. Go ahead.
Yeah. When we were talking about it last, you said repeatedly the mall is unsafe.
I didn't say that. I'll pull up the tape. I said there's a perception that the mall is unsafe.
Oh, that's right. That's right. You did say there's a perception that the mall is unsafe.
It keeps people away.
And I suggested
that's fact check. That's accurate.
That perception is perpetuated by every time it gets talked about, and which I also stand by you. Of course, no amount of crime at the mall is acceptable. No amount of crime in the city is acceptable. And so we look forward to working with Joe and the new group to make that a safer environment. And to the credit of the receiver, actually, they took some steps that worked out really well as well over the last year there.
All right, we'll talk more with the mayor about this and Joe's plans. ATVs in Roger Williams Park. A couple of texts about that today. I thought you had that tamped down, which I believe you do.
Yeah.
But I guess this is recurrent. But let's get to that right
every springtime, things pop up again.
All right, we'll get to that right after Bill Hartman's bottom of the hour headline. Mayor Smiley for Ask the Mayor. All right, 8:36. Mayor Smiley's going to stay with us a couple more minutes. Marilyn's back. She's got a follow-up. No, Mayor, just to throw you off there. Let's go to Steve. He's calling about the tent cities on the highway. I thought that was all cleaned up. I guess not. Go ahead, Steve. You're on with the mayor.
Hey, how you doing? Thanks for taking my call. Yeah, I was just up in Providence visiting my son. He just moved there, and we drove by. It's like between 95 and the train tracks. We saw a bunch of tents and people walking literally on the highway. I'm just wondering, where does that fall? Like, who's sort of handling that? Is it the mayor's office, police, the train? Who actually is going to handle that?
Well, that's a complicated answer, but go ahead, Mayor.
Yeah,
Mayor,
Steve,
I've seen them too. Over by Rhode Island Hospital, the encampments are back.
So the highway embankments, that's all DOT land, so that's state land. We work closely with them. We need to do it in collaboration because it's not our property, but it's their property. But then Providence Police will assist them with the efforts to clear that property. We stay in close touch with DOT about known encampments, and we, as has been discussed many times on this show, we have a process that we go through where we give notice, we give people a chance to move along, we offer to store their belongings, and then ultimately we evict and clear the encampments. But because the highway ones are DOT land, we do that with them.
All right, Steve, thanks. Mayor, where do you have encampments now?
The worst of them are, in fact, all on state property right now. There's several on highway embankments, and then there's an added complication. Steve sort of referenced this. If it's near the train tracks also, then sometimes we need to get Amtrak involved as well, because there's one down sort of near Huntington Avenue along the train tracks there. So the jurisdictional issues get a little complicated, but we're continuing to make contact with folks, try to get them services, try to get them into shelter. But we, as has been the case for many years, this is an ongoing process. This is something that we work out around the clock throughout the year.
Yeah, there's one by the Foxy Lady as you're getting onto the on-ramp. There's an encampment right there. And
Well,
then,
that's where the village is.
yeah.
It's
They have an
also
encampment
near there. Yeah.
Hold on. They have an encampment near the pallet shelter village?
Yeah.
That makes no sense.
Well,
Or maybe it does. I don't know.
I mean, so again, that's also DOT property. That's up off of Douglas, and the pallet shelter, Echo Village, is full, and has been a success.
Yeah.
So I want to give credit to them. That is a success. We need more of those. More of the pallet shelters in Rhode Island, not just in Providence,
Okay.
to actually ease some pressure on people living out in encampments, because they are not safe and they're not suitable for people to live in.
Senator Raptakis has got a bill pending that would crack down on panhandling in certain intersections, and it has to do with crosswalks. And he says it's unsafe. Just the other day, this is not only your city, it's Warwick, up by the mall. There was a panhandler. He was sitting on the grassy island with his feet in the highway. And I'm looking, I said, this guy's going to get his feet chopped off any minute over here. Would you support Senator Raptakis' bill to limit panhandling in your city? It's bad when you come up the service roads. You know where the spots are.
I don't know the details of the senator's bill, so I'd be happy to take a look at it, but we certainly worry about the safety. This is, we haven't talked about it in a little while. This has come up, though, before, and it has went all the way to the state Supreme Court. It has been found to be protected speech, but we do very much worry about safety, particularly in Providence, right when you get off the highway downtown by the mall. They're on the median, which is allowed, but cars fly off the highway, and it does. It makes me nervous every time, and so we don't want to see anyone get hurt. So I'd be happy to take a look at Senator Raptakis' bill.
I think he says I found a way around it, and he says it has to do with traffic safety. All right. Listen, we gave you credit. You and Chief Perez did tamp down the wild ATVs that was zipping up and down the streets for a long, long time. However, there are several callers say they're back, and they're in Roger Williams Park, and they're making a mess out of the Temple of Music. Arthur, go ahead. You're on the radio with the mayor.
Mayor, good morning. Your zoo is building a beautiful walkway over near the ramp, the boating ramp, the fishing ramp at Roger Williams Park. In the winter, they built 80%. Now it seems to be frozen. Do you have any input on that? And if not, could you maybe light a fire under them, please? And thank you very much.
Yeah, so if folks know Roger Williams Park, that's a one-way street there through the park. So after you pass the Temple of Music, you're headed south towards Cranston. Before you get to the softball field, it's called Cunliffe Lake. The lake, which is behind the temple, gets close to the roadway, and we're building a walkway that goes out and like a little sort of a decked area that's actually out over the lake. It's lovely. We actually received a bequest from a gentleman who lost his wife, and they met walking along the lake in Roger Williams Park, and to honor her memory, he left a bequest to the city's Parks Department, and we're building this sort of boardwalk and decking area over the lake. It's going to be a wonderful addition. It's almost done. It'll be done this summer, and I think it'll be a nice new addition to the park.
Roger, did you have a question about ATVs too? Was it problems over there? Roger.
Arthur.
I'm sorry, Arthur. Did you have a problem with the ATVs?
Well, I mean, just like the mayor said, I mean, spring, all the flowers come back again, and but the only problem I have is the contractor of that beautiful gift. They put all their materials right in the loading the ramp area where there's twice as much room right across the street. So, and I'm not going to go down that decision, but so you can't fish there.
Okay.
I'm like, so, and I know that's a small thing, but hey, I mean, I'm
get
just
it.
asking.
Okay.
Yeah, I was down there actually just this weekend at a softball game on Saturday morning, and the construction materials and stuff are in. There's a bike lane through the park. The construction materials closed off a portion of that bike lane temporarily. There is sort of a gravel area that he's talking about, but that gravel area is also used as parking for the softball field, and so we have to keep some of that parking available. Otherwise, when there's games, the players and families don't have anywhere to park. So anyway, it'll all be over soon, and it's going to be great.
Okay. Where you want to go, Tom?
John, go ahead, buddy.
John,
Hi,
go.
Mr. Mayor.
Hi.
Hi, Mr. Mayor. I am a resident homeowner on the outside of Roger Williams Park, pretty close to the Temple of Music. And it started growing last year with outrageous vehicles with external speakers pointing. And they're zipping around Roger Williams Park, blaring music to concert levels. And this has been happening now for the past 2 weeks now. Yeah. Okay. It is so extreme that when we're on our porch, it sounds like Seekonk Speedway. Okay. With the number of vibrations.
Yeah.
Now, there was an incident last weekend.
Yes.
You guys had 500 vehicles that you had to clear out that overlooks Temple of Music. This is just a chaotic scene.
Yeah, thanks for reminding me of that. Yeah, Chief Perez was on with me.
Yeah.
It's called a meetup.
Yeah.
He had 500 vehicles. I can't believe it.
It's a TTO, or I think it's called, and it's these car parties. As Arthur before pointed out, and John has certainly experienced, there's always a little bit of an issue that starts on the first couple of nice days. This past weekend was, of course, felt like the first weekend of summer, even though it was mid-May, and we know we had issues. We are also cracking down. I actually got an update from the colonel this morning. We had over a dozen traffic stops last night. We wrote violations for loud music. We wrote 10 summonses, and we're out in the park all night breaking these up. Our experience in the past, not that it's acceptable that John and his neighbors should have to have a bad night's sleep any night, but we cracked down for a couple weekends, and then people realize that they're not going to get away with it, and it gets better. But this does seem to happen every spring or summer when it first starts to get nice, and so we are on it. We are well aware of it. You had the colonel on last week, and so it's definitely on our radar. But I'm sorry for the sleepless night, John. I've certainly heard from plenty of your neighbors with similar concerns, and so we're going to be really assertive over the next couple of weekends to try to set the tone for the rest of the summer that this is not acceptable.
Put the chain up, Mayor.
Yeah,
put the chain up across the street. There's no other way to deal with them. Put the chain up.
I think it was the last time we were on, or somebody else brought up this question to me about can we just block off access. We have tried that in the past. I actually spoke to the park superintendent about that. We've tried that in the past, and then you have to actually put a person there because the people will remove the chain, they'll remove the barriers, they'll drive around the barriers, and so
I would get a nice chain with a good lock, and they're not going to put the chain up.
I mean
how are you going to? Then what about the good people? What about them? I don't know. They can't enjoy the park either.
It's not that. It's that the chain wasn't sufficient.
Okay, let's get a nice chain, maybe like an anchor chain from the Gatsby. We'll lift it up and we'll put it across, and then you can't come in.
Go down to Galilee and get a marine grade.
Whatever it is, but I mean, how do you deal with these people? It's like I don't know.
We deal with it the way we're dealing with it, which is we write tickets, we use the police, and it's unfortunate that we have to do that because the police should be focused on more serious issues. But we know that quality of life issues are as important as other issues in the city.
They are. Tom,
yes.
Next caller.
Bob and Lincoln, go ahead.
Bob, go ahead.
Hey, it's not in your area, but on 146, these encampments are like tents. This guy has actually built a structure on the side of the exit ramp to get off at Mineral Spring Avenue. I couldn't believe it. It's got a metal roof and everything.
Yeah. Well,
I don't know why DOT isn't going around noticing these things unless they're blind.
well, listen. That's DOT. Okay, they listen. They used to be on with us every week, and this came up all the time. So maybe they need to get their behind in gear and do a little better than they're doing.
Yeah, no, it's not just a Providence problem, to be sure. This is probably North Providence. It's 146 in Mineral Spring, but we know this is an issue, and the DOT properties are, at least in Providence, those are our most challenging situations right now.
Okay, 438-9776. Just want to get back to the mall. Joe Paolino is going to pay $133 million for the mall. I know you're going to tell me still 6 million people still shop there. I get it. He says safety is job one, and I want former Providence police officers. And I don't want a mall cop. I want trained law enforcement. What about opening a substation there? Would you entertain that?
I definitely would entertain it. First of all, I think it would be. Let me just zoom out for a second. I think it's great that Joe's involved. I think it's great that there's a Rhode Islander as part of the ownership group.
Okay.
Two, I think safety is very important. And in some of Joe's other properties, he's hired a lot of retired Providence guys. And if those were the security personnel working in the mall, I think that would be great. Three, I'm open to a substation, very open to that conversation. Joe's not actually closed on the transaction yet. So when that happens, be happy to have a conversation with him about where that might go, where that staffing what he would hope to accomplish. We don't have officers that are doing nothing, so they would come from somewhere else, and that's the trade-off that we would have to talk through.
Well, I guess just a place maybe they could report there, just so you see them.
Yeah, right.
Just so you see them. He's looking for a supermarket. Now, Wegmans would be nice, but he'll take Dave's. Why? Dave's a great, maybe he wants to come, or maybe something else. Would you like a supermarket there? And what about the notion of a Costco that's been floated? Is that something you would entertain?
I think both of those would be great. There are more people living downtown than ever before, and we do need a market. We've got Trader Joe's on the other side of downtown, close to 195, and there's a couple great little small markets, but they're not the same as a supermarket. So I think it would serve both the downtown residents, but it also could be a destination market for a lot of people. So I think that would be terrific. Costco as well. But they're going to have to figure that deal out.
And we want to move the buses out of Kennedy Plaza.
Yes,
there is movement to do that.
Yes.
Slow as it is.
Yes,
you got some news for us on that?
No, I mean the news it will be ultimately the governor's to make because that's a state project. But there is movement and there is progress being made on that. So
okay, Tom, one more call for the mayor.
Yeah, Kevin, go ahead.
Kevin, go ahead. You're on with the mayor.
Wondering how the city plans to address when water fire comes just beyond eyesight. There's a bunch of homeless people with fecal matter, heroin, fentanyl, cocaine. It's all in the water. So little Johnny sees an O. Henry bar go by. Shouldn't you post a sign or something? Because it's rancid and something should be done about it or posted.
Are you talking about the water itself?
That's right. All the homeless people live right over by home. All the water that feeds in there, the homeless live on those tributaries for a reason, because it's a free toilet. Oh. Well, every time you see water fire go, guess what's floating by?
Okay. Well, I haven't pieced it together quite as detailed as you have, but I know that right behind the Da Vinci Center, when you had the problem over there, that was actually on a creek. Is this something that's news to you too?
Well, I mean
the quality of the water is being fouled because of the encampments beside it. I don't know too much about it.
No, I don't either. This is not something that we've received a lot of calls about, so I appreciate Kevin flagging a new issue for us. The Water Place Basin, which flows out into the bay, is really in pretty good shape. There's nobody who shouldn't be along the walkways along the river walk, and so. I think that part is fine. If something's happening upstream, I'm not quite sure.
The river feeds into the basin.
Yeah, that's the Woonasquatucket.
Woonasquatucket feeds into that.
Feeds into the Water Place Basin.
Well, I wouldn't say that some of the tributaries might have a problem. The water goes in, but I haven't detected an odor by your river. I mean, I think we'd know about that if that was a beef or something like that.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Tommy, want a quick break?
We're done.
All right,
pretty much.
Mayor, you got any news for me? Don't run out of here and
Oh,
hold
yeah,
the
no,
news
you
conference.
got news?
No.
What, you got news?
What?
You have your World Cup announcement with the street closures for.
Oh, yeah. Hopefully folks know we are hosting the state and I would say Southern New England's best World Cup party, which is a FIFA-sanctioned fan zone at Station Park.
baby.
That's the park in between the train station and the mall, that grassy area. Gloria Gemma used to start their race there, things like that.
By the American Express building.
That's right.
Yeah.
By the American Express building. So that's going to be fenced off. Jumbotron, we're going to broadcast every game, not just the ones in Boston.
Okay.
And any day there's a game going on, that'll be open and free and open to the public. There's been a lot of justified complaints about the expense of a ticket for World Cup or
Right.
transportation. Ours is free. Come to Providence. There's going to be a beer garden, food trucks, and some live performances in between games. It's going to be great. In order to accommodate all of this, though, we do have some traffic changes coming. So Francis Street, which is the street in between the train station and the State House,
Yes.
is going to go down to one lane.
Okay.
That's currently 2 lanes.
Right.
That's going to go 1 lane south from Smith Street towards the mall.
Okay.
And then what's called Finance Way, which is that street in between the American Express building or Station Park and what was Skyline or Water Place, that's getting shut off entirely.
Right.
And so there will be some traffic disruptions, but that's in order to facilitate what we think is going to be a great free World Cup viewing party full of local, regional, and international guests. It's going to be a blast.
That's for him.
That's
behind
for
the door.
Tommy.
That's
me.
not for me.
Right.
Thank you for the information. I will stay in East Greenwich. Very good. By the way, you're going to rent your house out, Airbnb?
No.
Make some money?
No.
No?
Quit.
No.
All right, it's 8:53. Thanks, Mayor. Have
Thanks,
a good rest
Gene.
of your week.
See you later.